Welcome back to The Deep Dive, the show where we dig into, well, sometimes pretty dense source material, rule books, design docs, you name it.
Yeah, sacks of paper sometimes.
Exactly, and we try to cut right through to what you really need to know. Today, we are teeing off into the world of the T-Legion trading card game.
Ah, T-Legion. Good stuff.
It really is. It's like golf, but reimagined as this kind of mythic duel. You've got knights commanding dragons, but you're also, worrying about the wind and hazards.
It's a fascinating blend, truly. You have that core golf frustration, thinking about grip, stance, tempo, but then bam, it's layered with tactical creature combat, high-stakes stuff.
Yeah, managing risk. You're a knight in a duel, but ultimately you're still trying to win the whole golf style.
Exactly.
And today we're putting a spotlight, a very specific spotlight, on the Legion that kind of flips the script. The ones who see golf's biggest mistakes as, well, opportunities.
The
Rogue Legion.
The rogues. Slice Fang, as they're known in the lore.
Right, Slice Fang. The Tricksters. They specialize in messing with hazards, manipulating yardage, using pierce mechanics, just generally being sneaky.
They thrive on chaos, essentially.
So our mission today is to really break down T-Legion's core structure, but specifically through the eyes of the rogue. We want to figure out why they seem to actively aim for the rough,
It's a great lens because the Rogue Legion really embodies that high-risk, high-reward heart of the game. They're not looking for the safe shot down the middle.
No way.
They want the angle, the opportunity, even if it means, well, total chaos. So to understand why they work, we absolutely need to lay out the battlefield first, the basic rules they're trying to bend.
Okay, let's do that. Core structure. Starting with the player's avatar, the knight. Where do they fit in this golf battlefield hybrid? What's their job?
Right, the knight. Think of them as your permanent commander. They sit back in the teeing ground zone, kind of like your anchor position.
But they don't really get into the fight directly.
Not usually, no. Their main job is strategic. They issue one command per turn to one of your dragons. That could be strike, defend, or, activate some special ability. They're the shot caller.
The brains, not the brawn then.
Okay.
But if they're not the main target, how do you actually lose the game?
Good question. The knight can't be destroyed or removed from the teeing ground zone, that's key. But they have GP, game points. Think of it like your health, or your overall score for the match.
Okay.
Every knight starts with 9,000 GP. If that number hits 0, that's it. You suffer the cut condition. Game over.
Cut condition, like getting cut from a tournament. Makes sense. So the knight only attacks if?
Only if all their dragons are gone. Wiped off the board. It's always seen as like a desperate last stand. Definitely not plan A.
Gotcha. And the Rogue Knight specifically, how does their identity play into this command role?
Well, the Rogue Knight is all about that finesse and, frankly, recklessness. Opportunism. Their sigil even shows it, the twin daggers shaped like golf tees crossing a shadowed crescent.
Cool image.
Yeah, it signals agility, cunning, not just brute force. And in-game terms, that translates directly to specializing in what they call yardage bursts.
Yardage bursts.
Yeah, using their command phase, not just to attack, but to rapidly push their dragon's distances down the fairway. Often they'll even take a small hit to their own GP as the cost for gaining that positional advantage, that tempo.
Interesting trade-off. Okay, so Knight's command. Who does the actual hitting? The dragons, right, they're on the front lines.
Exactly. The dragons are your main combatants. They strike, they defend, they win the holes. They occupy the lance zone, which is basically the array of frontline combat slots.
And this is where that golf link gets really deep with the YDS alignment lock.
Precisely. This is super important. Every dragon card has a printed YDS, or yardage value, usually ending in 0. This number isn't just flavor. It dictates exactly which of the 8 land zone slots that dragon must go into.
Okay, so you can't just stick your toughest defensive dragon way out in the driver's slot.
Nope. The game forces alignment. It prevents those kinds of easy optimizations. The slots match up with real golf clubs.
Oh, putter is 050 YDS, 7-iron is maybe 180, 200 YDS, driver is 280 plus, that kind of thing.
Got it. The dragon's YDS is its address, its designated spot on the field.
And this is where the rogues start their mischief, right? Exploiting this rule.
This is a core tactic for them. It turns a simple placement rule into a potential weapon. Here's the kicker. If a dragon's YDS changes during the game, maybe a rogue hits it with a relic effect or some kind of modifier, and that new YDS value falls outside the allowed range for its current slot. The dragon doesn't move. It stays physically in its lane.
Okay, but
But it cannot strike. It's frozen, positionally invalid,
Yeah.
silenced, effectively, until its YDS gets somehow nudged back into a legal number for its slot.
Whoa. Okay, let's walk through that. Say I have my 7-iron dragon happy in its 180-200 YDS slot. My rogue opponent plays a relic, Shadow Spurt or something.
Boost, yes.
Right, Shadow Boost. It gives my dragon plus 50 YDS, so now it's at, say, 230 YDS.
Exactly. And 230 YDS is too high for the 7-iron slot, but maybe not high enough for the next slot up. So your dragon is stuck.
It's just sitting there, taking up space, but unable to attack.
Precisely. The rogue used a positional buff, technically, to completely neutralize your attacker without dealing damage or even using their own strike command. It's tactical immobilization via yardage manipulation.
That's really clever. So YDS isn't just about moving down the course, it's a control mechanic.
Absolutely. It creates this constant tempo puzzle. And remember, the game's economy, those 4 core stats.
GP, HG, DG, YDS.
Right, GP, game points health, HD, hit damage offense, DG, dragon guard defense, and YDS, yards position. All legions use them, but rogues are laser focused on messing with YDS and HD to set up those big risky plays. They happily trade DG, that defensive stability, for aggressive position.
Okay, we've got the map, the pieces, the core stats. Now let's talk about the chaos factor, the dice rolls. T-Legion uses a simple D6, right? But it seems to generate a lot of drama.
Oh, absolutely. A single D6 roll can create huge narrative swings, really captures that golf feeling. But we need to split the rolls into 2 types.
Right, there's the basic one.
Yeah, the universal yardage roll rule. That's just basic progress. Determines distance gained or lost based on the par of the hole you're on. Mandatory, straightforward, track score.
But the one the rogues really care about is the shot shape roll.
That's the one. And crucially, it only happens when a specific card, usually a relic, tells you to roll it. It's not automatic. This roll determines the quality of the strike, the curve, the mishit, the outcome beyond just distance.
So it's like swing execution.
Yeah.
And the results range from perfect to disastrous.
A 1 to 6 scale, 1 is the best, 6 is the worst. A stable player, like maybe someone playing the Monk Legion, they want 1s, 2s, maybe 3s, safe and steady.
Let's break down that scale. What do the numbers mean, and why are rogues seemingly hunting the bad results?
Okay, roll a 1, that's straight.
Yeah.
Perfect shot. Baseline stats, totally safe, what you usually aim for.
Makes
Roll a 2, that's a draw. Controlled power, you get a nice little boost. Plus 100 HD and plus 50 YDS. Still very safe, good positive momentum.
Okay.
Roll a 3, that's a fade.
Yeah.
Controlled. Control. You get plus 100 DG for defense, plus that, plus 50 YDS. Again, safe, solid game.
Right, so 1, 2, 3 are all good, controlled outcomes, but the rogue player, the Slice Fang, they're interested in 4, 5, and 6.
This is where it gets juicy and where the game links outcomes to hazards. Roll 4, that's the hook, a big overcurve to the left.
Okay. Good or bad?
Both. You get a massive plus 150 YDS burst. Huge positional gain, but the cost is steep. Negative 100 DG, leaving your dragon vulnerable. And crucially, this roll result maps directly to the bunker hazard zone.
Okay, so let's think like a rogue here. A normal player rolls a 4, they hook into the bunker, they're probably in like lower defense, and now they have to pay some kind of penalty to get out of the bunker, right? Like maybe lose 100 YDS.
Typically, yeah. Bunkers usually have a retrieval cost, often a YDS penalty. But look at the rogue math. They got plus 150 YDS from the hook itself, even if they pay a negative 100 YDS tax to get out of the bunker.
They're still up plus 50 YDS overall.
Exactly. And they gain huge tempo offensively. They weaponize the bad shot shape. They accept the now it's 100 DG because they just catapulted their dragon way down the course, potentially into striking range.
Wow, okay, that clicks. What about roll 5, the Slice? Overcurve, right?
The Slice is generally seen as worse. It's nags 100 YDS and nags 100 HD. A real momentum killer, reduces your hitting power. It maps to the rough hazard.
And the rough is usually tougher than the bunker.
Yeah. The retrieval tax from the rough often involves losing GP, maybe on top of another stat penalty. It's generally less desirable than a hook.
Yeah.
But even here, rogues have ways. They might have relics that specifically mitigate rough penalties, or maybe that initial YDS loss actually sets up a different tactical advantage against certain opponents. They find ways.
They find the angle, even in a bad slice.
Yeah.
And the big one, roll 6, the Shank.
The dreaded Shank. Catastrophic mishit. You immediately lose minus 150 YDS, a huge setback, and it triggers a mandatory second roll, the hazard check.
Another roll, to see how bad it really is.
Pretty much. If that second check roll is odd, your dragon lands in the water hazard. If it's even, it stays in play, but is still heavily penalized somehow.
And water is bad news bears.
Oh yeah, severe penalties, skipping turns, big GP cuts, dual stat damage. It's rough. And, depending on the card effect that triggered the shank roll in the first place, a 6 could even lead directly to the OB seal. Out of bounds.
The graveyard. Permanent loss.
Rock forever. No retrieval possible from OB.
So, the Rogue Legion's flavor name, Slice Fang, isn't just flavor text. It's baked into their mechanics. They want the hooks and slices, maybe even flirt with the shank, because they think they can handle the fallout better than anyone else.
They absolutely live in the hazard zone. That's their territory. The 4 subzones: bunker, result 4, relatively mild tax; rough, result 5, mixed tax, often hits GP; water, result 6, severe penalties; and OB, out of bounds. Game over for that dragon.
And you mentioned retrieval costs. There's like a standard table of costs to get out of hazards.
Yes, the Universal Hazard Retrieval Cost Table. It applies by default.
Yeah.
And for most legions, especially getting out of water, those costs can be crippling. Might cost you a turn and a big chunk of GP.
But not for rogues.
Yeah, this is key. Rogue and Slice Fang card effects explicitly override or tweak those universal costs. The source material flat out says Slice Fang makes water cheaper.
How? Do they just pay less GP, or?
Could be less GP, could be they substitute a different cost, like discarding a card instead of skipping a turn. The point is, they have unique tools that let them view landing in water not as a disaster, but as a calculated recoverable risk. It's huge.
Okay, we've got the rules, the risks, the rewards. Let's put it together. What's the actual rogue game plan look like? If they're aiming for hazards, what's the end goal?
Their core identity is built around, hazard zone play, definitely. Also, Pierce mechanics, we'll get to that, yardage manipulation, obviously. And just generally playing the angles, finding tricky lines.
So less about brute force, more about disruption and sudden bursts.
Exactly. Unlike other legions that might focus purely on wearing the opponent down, the rogue looks for these unpredictable, massive tempo swings. They accept risk on almost every turn to achieve that.
How does that really stack up against the other main legions? What's the contrast?
Good question. Let's compare. You've got the Warrior Legion. They're the sledgehammer. Max HD, focus on GP damage, just trying to smash through down the fairway. Safety isn't their priority. Output is.
Okay, straightforward aggression.
Then the Monk Legion, Iron Resolve is their flavor. They're the opposite, the immovable object. Super high DG, lots of GP sustain. They want to absorb hits, outlast you through discipline and attrition.
The defensive stall.
Right. And the Wizard Legion, they're the architects. Very relic heavy. They manipulate the course conditions, control your options, try to outsmart you with complex plays.
So against that lineup, the rogue is the wild card. Agile disruptor.
That's a good way to put it. They use agility, quick position changes via YDS manipulation, and they force the fight into those messy hazard situations where maybe the warrior struggles with accuracy penalties or the monk just can't afford the constant retrieval costs.
And their look reflects this too, right? The colors.
Totally. Their palette is shadow green, midnight black, and venom teal. Colors you associate with shadows, stealth, cunning. It visually screams, I'm not playing by the standard rules. It matches that twin Dagger's sigil perfectly.
Let's dig into that Knight command again. The rogue Knight strike roll philosophy. How does their command style reflect this recklessness?
When any Knight is forced to roll, usually a rare event, the outcome typically pushes risk onto their dragons, or maybe costs the Knight some GP. But the Slice Fang Knight's command pattern, when they choose to use abilities that involve rolls, is deliberately chaotic.
How so?
They might use a command ability that forces their own dragon to make a shot-shape roll, aiming for those high numbers 4, 5, 6, specifically to send that dragon into a hazard zone voluntarily.
They command their dragon into the bunker, or rough on purpose.
Or even water. It's part of setting up their retrieval engine, or maybe triggering other effects that rely on being in a hazard.
And that leads to the craziest command, the roll 6 outcome you mentioned, the ultimate gamble.
Absolutely. Imagine the knight issues a command so aggressive it sends their dragon straight into the water hazard. Then, as part of that same command effect, the knight forces a second roll, the 50-50.
Odd means OB, even means it stays in the water.
Correct. Odd result, poof. Dragon is sealed out of bounds, permanently gone, even result. Gets stuck in the water, but the rogue can retrieve it, likely cheaper than anyone else.
Okay, hold on. Why on earth would you take a 50% chance of permanently losing what might be one of your best dragons? What's the payoff?
Tempo. Pure, unadulterated tempo and psychological pressure. Maybe the opponent has a super fortified knight, and the only way to break through is this high-risk play. If the gamble succeeds, dragon lands in water, rogue retrieves it, maybe it triggers a cascade of other benefits, card draw, enabling other relics, forcing the opponent into a terrible defensive posture.
So it's like the potential reward is so game-swinging, it's worth risking instant, permanent failure.
For the rogue player, yes. They believe they can recover from the self-inflicted wound faster than the opponent can capitalize. It's a belief in their own resilience and retrieval mechanics.
Still takes guts. You have to be okay with basically flipping a coin on a major piece.
Mastery of the razor's edge, like we said. And to make sure these risky plays actually hit home when they do connect, rogues lean heavily on the Pierce mechanic.
Pierce. Okay, how does that fit in? Bypassing defense.
Exactly. Pierce lets your dragons attack, ignore the opponent's dragon guard, DG, or bypass certain defensive effects. Think about it. If you just pulled off a risky hook, roll 4, got plus 150 YDS, but took Anga to 100 DG, you're vulnerable.
Right.
You need the attack that follows that move to count. If the opponent is a monk player stacked with DG, Pierce ensures your hit lands, either damaging their knight's GP or taking out a key dragon. It guarantees the reward part of your risk-reward calculation actually pays off.
Okay, so rogues intentionally put their dragons in harm's way into hazards. This means their whole strategy hinges on getting them out again, right? Cheaply and efficiently, which puts a huge focus on their relic choices.
Absolutely critical. Their relic suite has to be built around 2 things: rewarding risk-taking and providing recovery options that are better than average, especially from those tough spots like water.
So which relic types are their bread and butter?
You'd look straight at the subclasses that mess with HD, hit damage, and YDS yards the most, the ones that offer big, immediate bursts. That points us squarely at technique relics and gear relics.
Let's start with technique relics. The source calls them instant, like one-shot tactical plays.
Exactly. Think of them as the miracle shots, the desperate saves, the clutch plays. They offer immediate, often powerful effects, usually boosting HD or YDS. High risk, high reward is their signature.
And they fit the rogue's style how?
They are the rogue's ultimate gambit tool. Not only do they provide those sharp tactical bursts, but functionally, technique relics are the only type of relic in the game that can even attempt to retrieve a par 5 dragon.
Whoa. And par 4 dragons are the big hitters, right? The drivers, the most powerful units?
Generally, yes.
Yeah.
Highest base YDS, often high HD. Losing one is a major blow, so being able to retrieve one from a hazard is incredibly valuable. But
There's always a but with rogues.
always, technique retrieval comes with the highest risk of failing straight to OB. Out of bounds, permanent loss.
So you try to save your best dragon, and you might just vaporize it instead?
Pretty much. The example given is a card called Iron Recall, attempts a Car 5 retrieval. But the fine print: if you roll a 6 on the mandatory risk roll associated with the card, that dragon is sealed, OB, gone.
Ouch. A 1 in 6 chance of just deleting your own unit.
A warrior player would probably never take that chance. A monk player, forget it. But the rogue has to consider it, because getting that par 5 threat back on the board quickly might be essential to maintaining their aggressive tempo and yardage pressure. It embodies their entire philosophy.
Except the potential catastrophe for the chance at a massive swing. Okay. What about gear relics? These are the clubs, right?
Yeah. Gear relics represent the physical equipment. They primarily focus on modulating the dragon's raw stats: YDS, HD, and DG.
So for a rogue who's hitting hucks and slices all the time, their gear must be designed to somehow benefit from that inconsistency.
Exactly. A typical gear card might offer a stable, small bonus. The Slice Fang gear card, though, it likely amplifies the results of those bad shots, maybe something like Jagged 7 Ironhead. If this dragon inflicted the hook, roll 4 status this turn, gain plus 50 HD for your next strike. It turns the risky shot shape into a direct power boost.
Or like your earlier example, Venom Driver Grip. Huge YDS gain on a slice, but at a cost of permanent DG loss.
Right. It reinforces those reckless, aggressive outcomes. Massive gain, tangible price. And for gear retrieval, Slice Fang versions would probably let you recover par 3 or par 4 dragons reliably, but maybe with a sting, pay some GP to get it back now instead of waiting, perhaps. Still aggressive.
So gear makes their mistakes hit harder, techniques try to bail them out of the resulting hazard. How do the other, maybe more defensive relic types fit in? Like caddy relics, they usually help with DG and GP, right? Stability?
Normally, yes. Caddies provide guidance, stabilize variants, offer safe recovery for smaller dragons. A monk player loves their caddy relics for consistency.
But consistency sounds like the opposite of the rogue motto.
It is, but they use caddies in their own twisted way. Rogue-affiliated caddies are described as offering unreliable whispers of chaos.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means a rogue caddy might give you the confidence boost. maybe a temporary DG increase, need to attempt a really risky technique play. But the caddy's help might come with a hidden cost. Maybe if you discard a card, or the dragon takes a small HD hit later. The caddy enables the gamble, but doesn't remove the risk entirely.
So even their support is playing with fire. Calculated mitigation, not true safety. What about swing relics? Form, stance, usually DG and YDS focused.
For most players, swing relics are about rhythm, consistency, maybe preventing bad rolls. For a rogue, their swing relics likely act as volatility shapers. They don't prevent hooks or slices, they tune them.
Tune them how?
Maybe a rogue swing relic says, when you roll for shot shape, you may choose to treat a 3 fade as a 4. It lets them lean into the aggressive outcome, tilting the odds towards those big YDS HD bursts, even if it means sacrificing defense, fine-tuning their self-inflicted chaos.
Okay. And lastly, course relics. These change the environment, affect GP and YDS globally.
Right, and rogue course relics. They create chaos that the rogue is better equipped to navigate than the opponent. Imagine a course relic like shifting fairways. Maybe once per turn, there's a chance it randomly swaps the positions of 2 dragons, or gives all dragons plus 50 YDS, but forces a difficult DG check.
Something that introduces unpredictability across the board.
Exactly. The rogue bets that their own specific tools, like cheaper water retrieval or pierce to ignore DG, make them slightly less vulnerable to that environmental chaos than their opponent is. They want a messy battlefield.
Okay, pulling it all together, it creates this very distinct gameplay loop for the rogue.
Absolutely. It's a cycle that looks self-destructive, but is designed for explosive tempo. Step 1. Spend your own resources, GP, maybe a card, to command or enable your dragon to enter a hazard zone, likely via a high-variance roll. Step 2. Trigger some benefit from being in the hazard, maybe card draw, maybe enabling another relic. Step 3. Immediately attempt a high-risk, high-reward retrieval using a specialized technique or gear relic. Step 4. If successful, your dragon is back, maybe exhausted or slightly damaged, but you've kept aggressive board presence, gained tempo, and likely forced your opponent onto the back foot. It's a constant churn compared to the slow, steady grind of a monk deck. #HackOutro.
Wow. Okay, this deep dive into the Rogue Legion Slice Fang, it really paints a picture. They're not just about luck or random swings. There's a deep strategy to their chaos.
Yeah, it's sophisticated manipulation, really. We've mapped out that identity. It's all about the hazard zones, using Pierce to make hits count and constantly messing with YDS for positional disruption. It fits that cunning twin dagger symbol perfectly.
And the absolute core seems to be their relationship with the shot shape roll. They don't just accept the bad rolls, they actively seek them out. The hooks, the slices, maybe even the shanks, because they have the tools to turn bunker, rough, and water landings into advantages.
And we saw that this entire strategy is only possible because of their unique toolkit, especially those high-risk technique relics. The ability to even try retrieving a par 5 dragon, knowing you might just lose it to OB. That's something no other Legion is built to do, or frankly, wants to do.
So the big takeaway, the aha moment for understanding rogues is what you said earlier. They succeed not despite the randomness and risk in T-Legion, but because of it.
Precisely. They weaponize mistakes. The slice into the trees, the ball and the water hazard things golfers dread. The rogue turns these into launch pads for yardage bursts, tempo gains, things the Safer Legions wouldn't dare attempt. They make the awkward lie terrifying for the opponent.
Which brings us to that final provocative thought for everyone listening. We talked about that Rogue Knight command, the one with the 50% chance of sending your own dragon straight to out-of-bounds permanent deletion.
The ultimate gamble.
Yeah. What kind of player, what kind of mindset does it take to actually master that level of self-destructive risk? To willingly command your best unit towards potential oblivion?
It takes someone who understands that sometimes the threat of total failure, the pressure that puts on the opponent, is more valuable than guaranteed safety. You have to be comfortable walking that nice edge between catastrophic failure and absolute genius. That composure, that calculated audacity. Maybe that's the rogue's real weapon, more than any card.
A fascinating high-stakes way to play the game. Definitely gives a new perspective on the Rogue Legion. Well, until our next deep dive, hopefully this gives you plenty to think about on the fairway.